What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to the Manchester United Manchester City post-match analysis show, and in this video we will analyze the title race, the top 4 race, lots of interesting things. I have a lot to say about the game. Manchester United weren't actually terrible for once, especially in the first half. They held their own and they could have scored a couple of goals through Marcus Rashford, who had some decent chances, but Man City also had some good chances in the first half. The second half, in the first 15 minutes, Man City just upped their game to another level. But I still think if De Gea has his usual world-class standards, then Man City would have been in trouble, because both Manchester City goals went through into his near post, which on another day I saw De Gea make those saves 9 times out of 10, so it's very, very disappointing to see that De Gea is not a world-class goalkeeper anymore, because Liverpool, among all the teams, relied on De Gea in that one, mainly Liverpool, and he just messed it up. The Man United defense was a shambles in the second half, and also I'm incredibly shocked how bad this Manchester United team was. It was like Manchester City playing against a mid-table Premier League side. Man United for large periods of the game got dominated, and Man City weren't at their best, and even then they were far superior to Manchester United. So let me know in the comments below, who do you think will win the title? I refuse to throw in the towel in the title race, and I think that's what Liverpool should do. Just never give up, fight until the last minute of the last game. Remember when Manchester City won their first league title, they were losing in the 90th minute against Chris Park Rangers on the last day of the season, and then they managed to somehow turn it around and win the game. So anything can happen even on the last day of the season. And yes, Manchester City are big favorites, but Liverpool, if they win all 3 games, Liverpool still have about a 38% chance of winning the title. But it's very unlikely, we have to admit. And after we drew so many games in like January and February, especially the Leicester and West Ham games and the Man United and Everton games, all I wanted for Liverpool was to try and win every game until the end of the season and see where that takes us. And I can't really criticize this Liverpool side for dropping points, because if you can't win the title with 97 points, it's just a desperately unlucky coincidence. Because before last season, this Liverpool season would have been the best ever season in English football history, and only this financially doped Manchester City side, which was bought together by, of course, the rich owners that they have, and otherwise they would be nowhere near the title, and no other team is anywhere near Liverpool and Manchester City this season, which shows that with incredible investment you can basically buy yourselves Premier League titles. And I think the Premier League and UEFA should really punish Manchester City in some way. Otherwise the Premier League could turn into how the Serie A, the Bundesliga and the French League looks like. That Manchester City could win 3, 4, 5, 6 Premier League titles in a row until Pep Guardiola is there, and until these owners can spend as much money as they want on new players. Nobody can come close to them, apart from maybe Liverpool, and yes, other sides have a chance if they get the recruitment right. But it's even a miracle that Liverpool are this close to Manchester City, because last season we finished 25 points behind Manchester City. And yes, you could argue that Liverpool also spent some money, but you have to remember that our net spend under Jurgen Klopp is £93 million. Manchester City's net spend under Guardiola is something like £400 million. So they spent about more than 4 times the amount of money in the last like 3.5, 4 seasons than Liverpool, and it shows on the pitch. Also, Manchester City in the last 10 years, since they have these new owners, they spent £1.4 billion on new players. Just to put that into context, Liverpool, not in the past 10, but in the past 20 years, So double that time, they spent 700 million pounds. So in twice as much time, Liverpool spent half the amount of money that Manchester City spent. That's what Liverpool are up against. And in terms of the spending and the wage bill and everything, Liverpool at the moment are third in the Premier League. Manchester City are first, Man United are second. So Liverpool are overachieving, and I think huge credit goes out to Jurgen Klopp, the players, the whole club, for how much Liverpool actually improved this season. It's an incredible improvement. At this time last season we had 71 points, and now we have 88 points. At this time last season with 71 points, at the moment we would be still in second place, just 1 point ahead of Tottenham. But last season we barely managed to get the top four by like 1 point ahead of Chelsea, if I remember correctly. So it's a huge improvement. To get to 88 points with 3 games to go, you can't really ask for a lot more than that. But I think what Liverpool need to do is try to improve again and try to build on this and buy even more and better players, beef up the squad. What I really want for Liverpool this summer is to buy maybe one first team player who can come in straight away and be a difference, an attacking midfielder. But also what Liverpool needs to do, in my opinion, is try to build in more and better squad players who can come in when Mane, Salah or Firmino get an injury or a suspension, or they have to be rested. Because I feel that if Liverpool will not be lucky with injuries in terms of our attacking players, because I think this season we have been quite fortunate with the attacking players that they have been injury free for like 95% of the season. And I'm not sure if that will happen next season, but if it doesn't, we need a ready-made replacement for somebody like Mane, for somebody like Salah. And I would love to see a player like Irving Lozano come in, a player I'm not sure, like Nicolas Pepe of Lille, for example, a pacey winger who can come in and score goals, get assists straight away for Liverpool. But I think next season Liverpool could do maybe even better. We lacked that little bit of a ruthless edge that is sometimes required to win a championship. In some games, in like 90% of the season, we really had it. If you consider that Liverpool could end up winning 30 out of 38 games during the season, during the whole season, and still end up as not winning the title is incredible, because previously in the 80s and 70s, when Liverpool won the majority of their league titles, sometimes 22, 23 wins was enough. From not 38 but 42 games, that was enough to win the league title. So this is, in terms of the points per game ratio, the best ever Liverpool league season in the Liverpool Football Club's history. You can't really ask for more than that. I can't really complain, having said that, I think what Liverpool needs to learn from this season, regardless if we win the title or not, is that in some games, like in the Manchester United game away from home, in the Everton game away from home, maybe we should have went a little bit more attacking in the last 30 minutes and just go for it a little bit more and try risk more for bigger rewards. Because if we just had won one of those games and lost the other instead of 2 draws, we would be 1 point better off, and that could maybe help us, you know. Maybe that would be just, we would end up on the same points with Man City. And also in the Leicester and in the West Ham games, I think that's where Liverpool missed a big opportunity. I'm not criticizing a team, I'm just explaining why we might end up not winning the title, mainly because Manchester City are being led to incredible heights never before seen in English football history. This is a Manchester City team which has more points and more wins than any other side in the history of English football, which is incredible that they could finish on 98 points after having 100 points last season. That's 198 points combined in 2 seasons. The fact that Liverpool are so close to Manchester City is a huge compliment. So maybe if we would have won against Leicester and West Ham, that would have been a massive difference, because remember that Liverpool had a 7-point lead back then against Man City. And I believe that if we could have maintained that 7-point gap for another 3, 4, 5 Premier League weekdays or weekends, then that could have been the difference, because mentally Liverpool would have hammered that advantage home so much, and also Man City probably would have given up a little bit in the Premier League, and maybe they would have even dropped more points, because the momentum would have been crazily on Liverpool's side. But those draws turned the momentum towards Manchester City, and we gave a chance for Man City to come in a little bit, and I think that helped them go on this incredible winning streak, because they knew that if they won all their games, they had a realistic chance of winning the title. But with a 7-point gap, if there would have been a 7-point gap with like 10-11 games to go, I don't think Manchester City would have realistically thought there is a realistic chance of winning the title, and maybe they would have concentrated more on the Champions League. These are just theories of mine, I'm just brainstorming here. I really hope that you guys appreciate that. And also the top 4 race is fascinating. Actually incredible, the top 4 race. It's like all the other top teams in the Premier League are struggling. Arsenal and Manchester United have 6 points in the past 5 match days in the Premier League, which is incredible. It's like relegation form, honestly. That's like 42 or 43 points during the season, which is almost relegation form. And the top 4 was wide open for Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, any of those teams. If they put a winning run together, or not even a winning run, but just win every second game and draw the other, they would have cruised towards the top 4, and they actually could have knocked Tottenham out of the Champions League places. But because all 3 teams, Manchester United, Chelsea and Arsenal, were struggling recently in the Premier League, Tottenham are still in 3rd place, and Tottenham are not in good form. They have 9 points out of the past 5 games, but if you look at the past 10 games, Tottenham just have 13 points, which is very mid-table form. And I'm amazed that Arsenal lost the back-to-back games to Crystal Palace and Wolverhampton. I know that those are decent teams. Wolves are in 7th place at the moment, but still, Arsenal looked so strong up until the last few weeks of the season, especially at home. But away from home, they always struggled. But I thought that when they knocked Napoli out by winning home and away, they turned the corner. But it's always a false dawn with Arsenal, it looks like, and their defense is just an absolute shambles. So I think now the favorites for the top 4 are actually Tottenham and Chelsea at the moment. But if Man United beat Chelsea in the next match day, then it will completely flip it around, and then Manchester United will be favorites, because Man United's last 2 fixtures, as bad as they have been, they have Cardiff and Huddersfield, which means that Man United could end up in the top 4 if they beat Arsenal. But even a draw might be enough with them, because Arsenal are in such a bad form, and Chelsea are struggling a little bit as well. So it's going to be a fascinating race for the top 4. And as bad as Manchester United have been, it's incredible that they are still within a touching distance of the top 4. And that shows how bad the other teams have been, because when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over, Man United were like 11 or 12 points behind of the top 4. And Man United lost 7 of their last 9 games in all competitions. And they are still in with the top 4 race, with a realistic chance of ending up in the top 4. That shows how bad Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal have been in the last like 2 months. It's incredible. So anybody who can guess the top 4 correctly, I mean, I applaud you, because at the moment it's unpredictable, and that's why we love football. There are so many different storylines and interesting scenarios popping up every week. I just love it, and it could be still a twist in the title race, so don't give up hope yet. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Goodbye.